Hey everyone, this is Coloring Chemist. My name is Connie and welcome back to my channel. You may recognize this. This is my snowflake mandala whip that I showed in my December finished pages video. And it's from this book, which is Snowflake Mandalas. It is a Marty Noble book from Creative Haven. And I have colored in all of the image basically with a PBO masking fluid drawing gum pen, this one right here. And so it has a tip like that. You can also get masking fluid in a little jar and you can paint it on. I just had this pen. And what I'm hoping to do today is give you guys a tutorial about how I do that kind of sunset background using just these blending brushes, these ones right here, and gel crayons. Now, I have left this on rather long, so I don't know if it will come off well. I know one of my viewers had mentioned on, I think it was the December completed pages video, and thank you for that. They commented that I may have left it too long and it might have fused to the paper. But you know what? I thought about it and I thought, if it does, it's okay. I mean, I won't be able to finish the page the way I want, but at least I can do this tutorial about how I put down the colors for the background, and then I don't know what I'll do. Maybe just leave the drawing. If it's fused, I might just leave the drawing gum on. I'm hoping it's not. I have left it a long time though. I did mean to get to this earlier and just, yeah, life got in the way and I didn't. So that's what I've done to prep this. So I basically colored in everything that I would want colored, except for these little snowflakes that occur kind of right in the middle of the larger snowflakes. The line work was just, it was too small a space to fit that, the tip of that masking fluid pen in there. So they're gonna end up colored with the color of the gel crayons, but that's okay. We'll deal with that later. And then what I did was I took a piece of, this is cardstock, just regular cardstock, and I tore it. But can you see how I tore it kind of, you know, up and down bumpy, like hilly? And then I put two pieces of, this is just repositionable tape you can get. And I tried to decide what I want to try and do is have like, it's almost like there's a scene in the background and this snowflake is in front. So the scene in the background, I'm hoping, this was my, I don't know if you guys remember, I think I've mentioned before, I don't often visualize my coloring before I do it. My brain doesn't work that way. I can't. It just doesn't. It just doesn't. And this was one of the first times where I had this idea and I could, again, sort of kind of see it in my head, but not really. So we'll see how this goes. But I was thinking to have like a ground line, like, you know, where the ground would be, and then the sunset and sky would be above that. Below that line, I would do like a snow kind of effect. And then, hoping, I don't know if you can see this or not, this is a stencil that has, see that there? So it's just trees, like probably birch trees. And I'm hoping once I get the background down, then I can put this down and just do the trees. Although I guess if they're birches, they shouldn't be black, should they? I do have another stencil that's got just branches. But I was looking for like the silhouette, like black trees silhouetted. But we'll see. We'll see what I think. We'll worry about the sunset first. So in order to get, so I didn't have just a, because it's not like a floor, right, line that I'm looking for. So I couldn't just take a ruler and just put a straight line down, although I guess I could have. I wanted it to be sort of like there was, you know, mounds of snow. So that's why I tore the piece of cardstock. And I kept the other half because what it then creates is, a perfect match, so that when I finish doing the sky above, and I'm just going to put this back approximately where it was, trying to remember where it was. About there, maybe. So I have this sort of masking off the bottom because I don't want the sunset colors where the snow's going to be. And then once I'm done the top, I can take this off and I can take this piece and put it down where to cover up the sunset colors while I then work on the snow, right? So you've got a positive and a negative of this ground line that I've created. And it's cheap. I just tore a piece of paper. And I got this idea from Lisa Taggart, who has a YouTube channel called Inky Bliss. Amazing. She's not a colorist, although she does do some coloring. She's a mixed media artist from Northern Ireland, I think. And she uses a lot of inks and just mixed meat, tons of stuff, and creates these amazing pictures with quite often Lavinia stamps. And I would love to start art journaling like she does. I mean, hers isn't a journal. She actually creates these pictures to hang on the wall. But I think for me, I would like to journal. But we shall see. But that's where I got the idea of just tearing a piece of paper to use as a, sorry, I'm just straightening this out, to use as a mask for your ground line. It's, you know, I know you can buy, they call them hill masks or ground masks or something like that. And it's basically, it's a piece of plastic that's kind of got the same idea to it. But yeah, you're tearing a piece of paper, and that way you can get, I can take a different piece of paper and get a totally different ground line for if I want. Or I can keep this one and use it again for, sorry, now I've made it too far the other way, I think. I can keep this one and reuse it. It's not going to last as long as, say, a plastic one would, obviously, right? But, yeah. So let's get started. I'm kind of scared. I don't know how this is going to go. When I did this sunset background on the coloring pages that I had done previously in December, and I showed them on my December 2023 finished pages, I put the yellow down low, then I went into kind of a peachy orange, and then into a blue, a darker blue, and then finally at the top I went into a black. But then I was looking at my reference pictures, which were just pictures that I had taken just around my property, kind of winter sunset kind of pictures. And I realized the peachy orange should actually go first, and then kind of the yellow, and then it goes into a really pale blue, and then a darker blue, and then, so that's what I'm going to try here. So I'm going to take the orange and the yellow, the peach and the yellow, and flip them from the way I did it before. Fingers crossed. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I have all of my gel crayons scribbled out onto, this is just a cheap plastic cutting board that I bought, I don't know, probably from the dollar store. And it has a rough side, and the other side is not quite so rough. But you know what? It works perfectly. You don't need one of those Caran d'Ache palettes, although I do have one. This is actually bigger than the Caran d'Ache palette, and so I can scribble up more colors at one time. I have these blending brushes. So I just got these from Amazon. I think they're meant for makeup. I have a yellow kind of one. Well, it's yellow because I used it for yellow before. They come white. I did wash this, but it's stained with yellow, so I'll probably just use that brush for just yellowish colors from now on. This is the one that I used for the corally peachy colors. That's the one I used for the blue. I have one here that I used. This comes as instead of a white bristled brush, it's kind of a tan, but I'll use that for black. And for the snow, I'm not sure if I'm going to use gel crayon for the snow or something else, but I have a clean white one that I might use for the white. As for the colors, I put them in a jar after I scribbled them out here, just to keep them out of my way. But I've got kind of from a variety of companies here. So 2 of the peachy colors here, and you don't need all of these colors. I'm actually not sure if I'm going to use them all yet or not. I've got coral from the Faber-Castell gelatos. This is one of their iridescents. And metallic melon. The metallic melon is this one here. It might be too neon-y for what I'm thinking. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'll use that one. But the coral is definitely, that's this one here. It's got a peachy pinky kind of look to it. And the other red one is from the King Art metallic set, and it's just called metallic red orange. That's this one here. The two yellows that I have there are Tim Holtz distress crayons from his holiday sets, because his holiday sets are the iridescent metallic ones. So the Harvest Moon is the lighter yellow here, and then Flickering Candle is the more kind of golden yellow there. I do have two whites scribbled out here. I'm not sure if I'll use the whites for the snow, but I scribbled them out. This one here is called Metallic Icing. And this one here that I'm not sure if you can even see. It's called Lunar. It's got almost like a pinky white tinge to it. So there are two whites there. I don't know if you can see. I don't know if I'll use the Lunar. I'm not sure if I'll use either one of those. For the blue colors, move this over here so you can see it for a sec. This blue here is, again, Tim Holtz, one of the holiday colors. It's called Winter Frost. The dark blue that's here is a gelato called Satellite from one of the iridescence sets. And then this one here is called Black Hole, which is, again, a gelato from the iridescence set. Almost has like a purpley, it's a black gel crayon with almost like a purpley kind of iridescence to it. The purpley doesn't come through, although it doesn't come through that much, but for a night sky, that would be okay, right? And this is something that I didn't have before. This is Crayola Signature gel crayons, and this one is just black metallic, and that's here. Because I was really hoping for a dark black, but as you can see, it's really not. It's more of a gunmetal gray. I don't know if I'll use that one or not. I might just stick with because I want that for the very top. We'll see. We shall see. All right. I'm scared, but you know what? That's okay. I'm usually scared when I start a page. I also have just some scrap paper here. Because I'm not using a separate brush for each individual color, usually what I do is, once I'm done with one color, I'll just rub the brush off on this scrap paper to get, as much of the color off as I can before I go into the next color. Now, I am going to keep this brush for just the oranges, so I don't have to worry too much about getting everything off. But yeah. So I think, like I say, I'm going to start with the oranges. So all I do is I just try and pick up some color off of the cutting board here. And before I go onto my page, I do always do almost like a test rub. And so you can see I picked up a little kind of solid chunk of it there, just because I don't want to go directly onto my page and have, a big streak of it happen. The nice thing of these gel crayons is you can really blend and fix mistakes, which I kind of like that. And then you start with light pressure. I do have another sheet of paper just off to the left, covering the left. Not that I would have to. The left-hand side of this, these are all single-sided, so there's not anything over there. And I do have another piece of paper underneath my image, just so I can go right up to the edge and I'm not putting gel crayon on my desktop. And then, ooh, that was a different color. That's okay. They're all oranges. Kind of get it. Up a bit. And the nice part about going in with a light hand is you can always blend out and even change color later on. Maybe I decide, no, I want a more yellowish color down at the bottom. I can go and put the yellow over top, and it just all blends together really nicely. So let's grab some of this. We'll see what this looks like. Okay, that's more of an orangey color. And I think, although who knows, my brain doesn't, like I say, doesn't operate that way. I think I might have more of the color, I don't know, like almost like a sunset in the center. So maybe even the sides might fade out to the blue. I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. But you know what? We'll keep working with the colors here and we'll see. We'll see what we get. It's an experiment. And it's funny because I am for those of you who aren't aware, I am a high school science teacher, chemistry teacher. And yes, we do experiments, but because I have knowledge in the area of chemistry, and I'm even just going back over some of this pinky color just to add, I don't know, orangey sheen to it. Why not? I'm gonna grab a little bit of this color that I thought was maybe too maybe try a little bit of this down at the bottom. I thought maybe this color would be too neon-y, but let's that's pretty. Let's light hand, yeah, that's pretty that's pretty pinky. Okay, back off. Let's grab some of this again. We'll fix that. I have knowledge in the area of chemistry, right? So experimenting, I sort of have an idea of what will happen, if that makes sense, right? In art and coloring, I don't have a clue. And so I just don't have enough experience or sort of knowledge. So I'm always very scared when I start doing something like this. And right now, doing this with you guys kind of as a tutorial, mind you, you may not ever see this because if it turns out really badly, I may not even post it. So if you're seeing this, either it turned out okay or I got really brave anyway and we talk about the mistakes I make. But I have no idea how this is going to turn out. None whatsoever. So that's, oh, that wasn't the, was that the color I wanted? Yeah, that was the color I wanted. Again, I'm just playing around with these pinks and oranges and what have you. Just to give that kind of bottom layer. And like I say, I'm just going to go over the bottom here so it's not quite so pink. It's more of a corally kind of color. So I think I'm going to leave the orange alone for a minute. Now I'm going to go in with the yellow. So I'm going to start with this more golden color, which I know you'd think I'd start with a lighter color, but I'm going to work into that, I think. And I might see if I can get a fair amount of that gold going kind of right in the center where the main snowflake is on the illustration here. And, you know, I'm going to go over, in fact, I might even take this golden color and bring it down onto the peachy bits as well, just because I think they're maybe a bit too pink. I mean, the kind of sunset that I'm going for, that kind of wintertime sunset here, there is some pink, but it's not like a, it's more of a golden pink, if that makes any sense. And just keep blending, adding colors. I think that's going okay so far. So try and get the most of the golden off there. And I'll go in for some of this lighter yellow. Kind of over top the golden there. I don't know, I'm kind of creating almost like a bump in the center there. Not entirely sure that's what I should do. I don't know. Now this is going to be tricky, and this is kind of, I think, maybe why I didn't do this order on the other pages. If I now go in with the blue and I start blending, my fear is that as I overlap the yellow, it's going to look green. And if you look at pictures of like a winter sunset or a sunset that's got kind of the pale yellow going into blue, it doesn't go green. It's not like the two colors mix in the sunset. So, how can I... Well, you know what? We'll try it, and whatever happens, happens. That's kind of my view on what we're doing here today. What I could do... I'm going to take some of this white. Oh, that's my blue brush. Oops. Well, that's okay. It was just white. You know what? I'm going to use the blue brush for the white anyway. I don't want to use the brush I was going to use for the white snow, because I want to keep that one with no color on it. I'm going to go at the edge of this yellow. I don't know why. I just am. I got some yellow on the blue brush. Make sure that's gone because we don't want green. And now I'm going to pick up that Winter Frost, which is kind of, it's my lightest blue. It doesn't look very light, but that is my lightest blue. And I guess I could have found a lighter blue color to transition, but the nice thing about, one of the nice things about these gel crayons is, if you want a lighter color, just put less of the gel crayon down. So this is, you can see there, looks fairly dark on there. But if I go in and I struggle with this, really light hand, right, I can get a light blue. I think that's what I struggle with when I'm working with inks. When you're doing ink blending, you can't go in, if you go in with a heavy hand, you're gonna get blotches and you're gonna get streaks and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And I think that's because I'm a heavy-handed colorist too, so I think I need to learn gentleness. And if you want a darker color, what you can do is you can just go back over and over the same area with the same gel crayon, same color, and you'll get that darker. Now, right here in the seam, particularly because there's a perforation there, that's going to take the color a bit differently. So there's not much I can do about that. I could have tried to avoid it, I guess, but... Not sure if I like this reversed. I don't know. I don't know. In other words, I'm not sure what I think about this. Maybe I should have put the yellow at the bottom. I don't know. Sorry, you're getting basically stream of consciousness from me right now. This is truly how I think as I'm coloring. Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Oh no, shouldn't. Oh, well, maybe yeah. That's what goes on in my head. I'm wondering if I should, well, it's too late now, if I should have done sort of strips of the color instead of kind of building it in the middle like that. Oh well, is what it is now. I mean, and again, as a teacher of, math, science, kind of chemistry, I want to be right. you know, and that's one of the good things that coloring and art is teaching me. There is no right. There's stuff that I like and stuff that I don't, but there's not a quote unquote right answer. And I think that's good. It's good for me to learn, but it's also very, very hard for me to let go of that thinking and to think it's okay. If this doesn't turn out well, it's okay. Nothing terrible will happen. Okay, so I want to now take that satellite color, which was a gelato, and this is a much darker blue. So just, again, light hand. And it may look a little splotchy right now. I will go back in and try and put more layers of the different colors on. So we'll try and get rid of some of that splotchiness. Like I say, at the edges here, that's going to be tough, but we'll do the best we can. This is going to work best on smooth paper, and because this is a Creative Haven book from 2015, it does have that smoother, kind of better paper. I don't know how well this would work. I mean, we can try it. We can certainly do another go round at this background on like Amazon paper, the CreateSpace paper. I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work. But we can try. We can see. We can try and do it on like a matchstick mouse image. And I think the key to getting this as smooth as I can, you just keep going over and over and over and over, right? Now I think I've got too much. I need to blend that out a little bit better. So I'm going to try and take this dark blue off. I do still want to have black up there too. Maybe there's not room for it. I don't know. We'll see. I want to go back to my Winter Frost, which is the Distress Crayon color. And I think hopefully you can even see, even just doing this and just sort of going back over, and then I take the Winter Frost up and over that darker color, it just helps there to not be so much of a, like before we kind of had almost like a line right there, where there was a transition between the darker and the lighter, and just doing what I'm doing. Oops, try not to bend the paper. That's why my other hand is here. Sorry, I know it looks like I'm kind of covering the image, and I don't mean to be, but you kind of have to hold the paper, or I do anyway, when I do this. Otherwise, you can see right there, it kind of, pulls it up at the edges, and then you end up with some bent paper. All right, so do I want to... Oh, I think I got a black bit. There we go. It was stuck in my blue brush. I was getting black lines when I... Oh, I still am. I'm going to take my paper here that I've been scribbling off on. I'm just going to flip it over. Just so I get a cleaning space there. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I picked up a little chunk of black in the blue brush and I didn't want to go back onto the page and have there be black lines. So, I haven't done any black at the top. Do I want to? Maybe let's try some. We'll see how it goes. So this is the... I can try a little bit of this Crayola. I think it's... I don't know that it's going to come out black, though. To me, it just looks like... Maybe. What happens if we just try it at the very top here, kind of in the corners almost? I don't think it's as dark as I hoped it would be. I'd kind of hoped for like an iridescent metallic black gel crayon that was black. And I don't think that's what I'm getting here. But you know what? It's actually, now that I'm putting it down, I mean, it's darkening that up fairly nicely. Maybe I will save the really black one, the black hole, because that is quite dark. Maybe I'll save that for my branches. Maybe that's what I'll do. So again, if we think that's too... Oh, look, it's getting my fingers sparkly. If we think that's getting too much of a line there, I might just take a little bit more of that satellite color, which is my darker blue. Oh, now I've got more black in there. Darn it. There we go. So I guess it's kind of a process to do one of these backgrounds. Ooh, it's not quick. Probably if somebody was maybe more experienced than I, they might be able to do it quicker. And then I think I'm going to grab the frost blue there, that lighter blue that we had. And you know what, I guess even if this doesn't look like a sunset in the end, hopefully it'll look okay. It'll look neat. My apologies if you guys were looking for like a step-by-step process as to how to create those sunsets. I mean, this is a different kind of page, right? I don't have an image on this page. The Rita Berman page I did, you know, kind of had a dip into the mountains, so that's where I had the sun setting, and it gave me sort of a guide as to where to put the colors. Thinking maybe I should have inverted this. Maybe I should have had the colors come up higher on the sides instead of higher in the middle. Oh well. Is what it is. Yeah. I'm gonna go back in with the yellow now. the lighter yellow. Again, I'm trying to avoid, I don't want a stark line between the yellow and the blue, but I also don't want to create a line of green if I can help it. Might be unavoidable. Might be unavoidable. Take this gold and work it, I think, right down to the bottom, because I think that the peachy colors were too peachy, if that makes sense. And if you're doing this and you're running out of, like, I think I might need a little bit more of the harvest, or sorry, the flickering candle, you know, just scribble it. That's all I did. I just scribble it in the palette like that. Hope everyone had a lovely holiday time and you got to maybe get some time in for some coloring. I didn't get a whole lot of time in December. This is now beginning of January I'm doing this, so hoping I've got a bit more time in January. As a teacher, it's a little less hectic of a time. My midterm exams and midterm reports were put out in the end of December. Yeah, I'm not sure I'm liking this curve business that I have going here. Oh well. Maybe once I put the trees down, it'll be okay. To do the trees, I'm going to leave this mask down because I want the bottoms of the trees or the branches to look as though they're in the snow, right? So I want, yeah, I'm going to leave this stuck down just for a moment. And I think the last thing I'll do then is worry about the snow part of this. And I may not use gel crayons. I don't know, we'll see. Just trying to decide if I think that's golden enough. It's hard too sometimes to do these gel crayon backgrounds when you've got the masking fluid because it's sticky, right? So you're trying to use your brush to blend and it kind of catches. So if you're finding that, if you're doing, you know, gel crayon backgrounds over top of where you've done masking fluid and it's a little tough and a little frustrating, I get it. This one. Or this one. I just want to deepen up the color a little bit at the bottom. Maybe both. I'm trying to look on the screen. I'm doing this. It does look like I have a fairly... See, that was the nice part about doing this the other way around. When I had the peachy orange at the top, I felt more like I could bring the blue in, and it actually created like a purple transition. Whereas this way, yeah, I'm not... I mean, I realize maybe it's less like an actual sunset, but I think I kind of like the other way around better. That's okay. That is okay. All All right, so do I want to use this stencil? Even though and I know it has falling leaves on it. What I'm going to try and do is try and avoid the leaves and just do the trees. You know what? I'm going to go for it. Because the little lines that are there, because they're birches, so birches would normally have white bark and darker lines. Maybe what I'll do, because this is going to actually, the lines are going to end up being the color of the sunset behind, so it's going to look like there's holes in the trees. Maybe I'll go back in afterwards with a smaller, maybe even a Q-tip, and put black gel crayon where those little lines are, just so they won't be birch, they won't be poplar, they won't be any of those kinds of trees. They'll just be straight trees. I'm hoping this is black enough. And I don't have, and I probably should, have something to stick the stencil down. You know what? All right, there may have been a pause in the video there because I had to regroup and think about what I was doing, but I'm back. I am going to use this stencil that I was looking at before. It's the one, it kind of looks like birch trees or poplar trees. And because what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the black gel crayon to go over this, there's going to be gaps, which I will just fill in once I take this off. There are also little falling leaves all over the place on this stencil because I think it was meant to be like a fall time stencil, but I don't want leaves. So originally I thought, well, I'll just do the gel crayon and I'll avoid going over those leaf cutouts. But I began to think realistically and thought, Connie, there's no way that you're going to avoid those. So what I did was, on the back side of this stencil, I guess I could have done it on the front too. I just have some just washi tape here that is not, you know, a color necessarily that I would miss. And I just put little pieces of tape over all the leaf cutouts. So I don't have to worry about it, right? I can go over those and the leaves aren't going to come out on the picture. I also took some pieces of washi tape and just doubled them up, right? So, because I don't have, what do they call it, pixie spray? That repositionable sticky spray. And I also wasn't sure if I used that, even if I did have some, because I'm going to have to stick this down over top the gel crayon that I already put down. So I wasn't sure if the sticky spray would then lift that up. I didn't know. This is just cheap washi tape and it's kind of old. It's got really no stickiness, barely at all left anymore. So I doubled up pieces like I just did there and stuck them down in, you know, various places, just to help hold the stencil a bit while I'm doing this. So you can see I still kept my ground line torn piece of paper there. Make sure this piece of paper isn't in the way. And I'm going to position this about there, maybe. I think, and I'm just going to tilt this up. I want to make sure that the trees are relatively up and down vertical. Just because, I mean, not that trees are, but if they were too far off, I think that would look wonky. Alright, so just get a little bit of contact with that washi tape underneath, just to hold the stencil. And, I still pulled my sleeves up. I was noticing I was picking up little bits of the, every time I reached over onto the palette to get gel crayon, I was picking some up with my sleeve, which was explaining why I was getting little bits of, you know, black and everything everywhere. So I don't know. Is this going to work? Who knows? Hard to say. But you never know until you try, right? So this is a brush that I have just for the black. And I'm going to go in and grab some of that. It was called Black Hole. And I'm going to see if we can make some black trees over top this background. That's a sunset. And because I put down... Now, I don't know. I don't know if these trees are going to end up black enough. I thought about going in with ink. But since I was already using gel crayon, I thought, well, I'll just stick with this. I might have to do a fair number of layers, right? To get the trees... Maybe, I mean, maybe they don't have to be like black. But I think they should be fairly dark. Dark enough that you're not going to see the different color coming through. Or maybe it's okay if you see some, maybe it'll look kind of reflective of the sunset colors. I don't really know. Like I say, and I'm going to turn this just because I'm reaching for the black all the time. I can't picture my colorings ahead of time. My brain, I don't know, it just doesn't work that way. So it's entirely possible that I will pull all this up and think, wow, that's really terrible, Connie. Sorry, you're getting a glare there now for my filming lights on the stencil, but that's just so I can see what I'm doing. It's a little bit later at night here. Well, I mean, it's central Canada in winter, so, I mean, we're looking at sunset at 4:30 this time of year. So, I mean, it wouldn't have to be that late at night for me to need extra filming lights. I'm just looking for the black coal because I think I'm going to need more of that. Could try bringing in a little bit of that Crayola too. Yeah, and then I'm just trying to get... Now, I know you can see the snowflake outline through this, and that's okay. Once I'm done all of this, I'm going to attempt to get the masking fluid off, and the snowflake should stay white. And then I am going to color the snowflake with various white media. That was kind of my intent. So maybe some white acrylic pens, maybe some white sparkle pens. Maybe basically it was just going to be all different kinds of kind of mixed media white. That's what it was going to be. So I don't think you probably need to watch me do this. You probably get the idea now. So I'm maybe going to turn off the camera and finish putting down. Like I say, I may just keep using this Faber-Castell black hole color. I might bring in some of that Crayola, this one, just to see what kind of effect that gives. And then we will come back when I have the trees done. I won't take off the stencil until you're back, because I know that's, you know, a reveal moment. It could be a terrible reveal. We don't know. But yeah, I will be back when all of the black is done. So we are back. I have put down, I think, as much black gel crayon as the paper can handle. In fact, probably more. I think it's actually starting to, I may have to fix this. I don't know. We'll see. So I'm ready to pull up the stencil. We can see what this looks like. I remembered that the blending brush set that I got from Amazon had these little teeny ones. So I may use this to fill in where these lines are. And you'll see what I say here in a minute. Also hoping that the washi tape that I use to hold the stencil down doesn't pick up too much of the sunset background that I put down. Oh, it did pick up some though. Well, that's okay, because we've still got the colors out. I've still got the brushes out. I'm going to put this off to the side somewhere. It's kind of messy. Hang on. Yeah, you can see like right there. It's picked up a little bit of the background, but that's okay. We've still got this down. And can you see what I mean by lines on the trees? Now, I don't know. I don't think I'll leave those just because because you can see the color of the sunset through those lines. So I'm going to see if I can carefully fill those in. Ooh, this is going to be tough. Mostly because I feel like I can't put the same pressure down as I did when I was doing the trees, because I have to be so careful near the edge. I think this might be too bendy. Okay, I'm going to go off camera again, and I'm going to see if I can figure out a better way to fill in those gaps. Okay, so I've abandoned this because it's too bendy and it's too hard to control. And what I have got is, this is just one of those little disposable eyeshadow applicators. They come from Amazon in like bags like this. And I think this is going to work better because I can control better where I'm putting the black gel crayon. And so I'm just taking a little bit of it on the applicator end. Didn't want a big chunk on there. And then just anywhere, so you can see there's lines in that tree, because it was supposed to probably be the other way around. I was supposed to probably use white ink, right, to then show that this was a birch or a poplar. So I'm just going over top where those gaps are and filling it in, trying to kind of blend it out. So that hopefully we get the impression of a solid tree trunk. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to do that on the page, and then we will be back. Okay, I'm back. I have filled in all of those gaps, so now the trees don't look like they have holes in them. We're at the moment of truth now. Did I leave it so long that I can't get the masking fluid off? If I can't, then I'm going to just have to abandon this and call it, But you know what? Now that I have the trees down, I don't know. I don't mind the orange and then the yellow and then the blue. I wish I would have gotten the blue darker. It looked dark until I got the black trees down. And yeah, I mean, I can't go in now. Although I guess I could. No, because then I'd start smudging the trees, which, I don't know. I don't know. I'd rather not. This is one of those situations where it's like, well, I could, but if I do, then what happens? So yeah, I have one of those erasers, but I actually prefer to use my fingers to get the masking fluid off. One of the tricky parts with masking fluid is, I find with this gel crayon on top, probably wouldn't be so much with ink, but gel crayon doesn't soak into the paper, right? It just sits on top. So what that means is when I start rubbing this, you can rub some of the gel crayon into the white spaces, right, where the masking fluid was, which is okay because I'm going to be using, like white acrylic pen and that sort of thing to color then the snowflake. So I mean, I can go over that, but I'm going to try my best to not smudge the gel crayon around too much. Oh, and I took the blue that I had here and tried to cover up. I don't know if you can see that. I can still see like a square tape line in a few places. So a little bit over here. I don't know. I don't know if I would suggest that washi tape thing to hold the stencil down, but then I couldn't think how else to do it. Yeah. Because it's almost like the washi tape left a little bit of maybe a residue there, so I can't really get rid of it, but we'll just hope that if I can get this to work and the snowflake is all bright and white and blingy, nobody will notice that. So, shall we try? Let's see. The center here. Usually it's toughest to get going. Yeah, but see what's happening? As I'm rubbing it off, the gel crayon is going into where it was. Maybe I'll have to do it more like that. It's this process it's not for the person without patience, I have to say. So can you see what I'm getting there? There's something very satisfying about it, though, I have to say. Oh, I said I wasn't going to rub like that. So it hasn't fused, so, if anyone has one of those PBO pens, I guess you can leave it on there for quite a while and it still comes off. So maybe I will try and bring you down here a bit just so you can see. Can you see? Now, I did take some off there, but I think I was kind of scrubbing too hard and I pushed the gel crayon. Now, I might be able to take some of that off with, let's try that. I wonder if I can take off the gel crayon that's kind of rubbed in there. Oh yeah. Not perfectly. Just using my electric eraser. Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not going to get a perfectly white underneath. I mean, that's not bad, right? But that's why I was planning to go over the snowflake and everything with, like the white acrylic or white gel pen, just because it's going to make it, and it's going to be over top the trees. Right now, the trees look like they're over top the snowflake. In the end, I'm hoping the snowflake is over top the trees. So I will pause again. I'm going to try and get the rest of this off, and then we'll come back and we'll see where I go from there. All right, I'm coming in. I'm not done. Here's what I'm learning. This would have worked far better with ink instead of gel crayon because, can you see? So I've started in kind of in the middle there, and I've started doing this tree. But as you rub, because you have to rub to get the drawing gum off, and that takes the black gel crayon off too. I know a lot of you who are artists were probably watching me the whole time going, Connie, stop, Connie. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. I guess I had to learn that for myself. Now, I guess it gives a faint tree in the background, and maybe that will work out better for what I want to do. I'm not really sure. The trouble is, I don't actually have to rub, from sort of there up, right? From there up, because the snowflake stops there. I don't have to take drawing gum off. So I might just have to use the eraser and rub all the way so that they all look rubbed out like that? I don't know. But I did want to, I'm thinking this whole time, do I really want to post this video? I think I might, because you know what? It's important to see the mistakes too. When I watch colorists or when I watch people drawing or crafting or things, I want to see the mistakes because I want to see what do they do? What do they do when they make a mistake? This was a big mistake. I should not have used gel crayon for the trees. But then I don't know how ink would have laid down over top the other gel. Maybe all of it should have been ink. But live and learn, right? So I'm going to keep working at this, and then we will come back. Maybe I should have let the gel crayon sit overnight. I don't know. I think it's gel crayon. I think it would still rub off. I did dry it a bit with my heat tool, but I mean, there's a lot of layers of gel crayon on there, so there's kind of nothing for it to stick to anymore. But yeah, we'll come back when I'm done, and we'll see what happens. All right. So I wanted to come back and say, this is an unmitigated disaster. Look, I had to resort to this, which I don't like, to get the coloring, or the drawing gum was coming off okay, but using my finger was smearing everything everywhere. And the trees, I mean, are almost gone. I think I've taken off most of the color that I put down. My hands, I don't know if you can see all the black rubber bits off to the side here. This is a disaster. But I'm going to see if I can salvage this. So I'm almost done getting all the and you can see the drawing gum is laying on here in like bits and pieces. And so I'm going to go and clean this up. You can see just a little bit at the top here. What I've had to do is, because I had to rub, obviously, to get the drawing gum off, all of the parts of the trees that were where the drawing gum was, the masking fluid, obviously the black got rubbed off. So then I had to go in and take this and do the same thing up here where I didn't technically have to rub because there's no drawing gum up here. But otherwise, there was like stark black trees up here, but not down here. So you can see up in this corner how there's still a little stark black. And not only that, when I rub, they just get blurred out. So we are embracing this. And we're just going to go for, and they're just totally messy. I can't make them any other way. Abstract trees. That is what I'm gonna go for in the background. So, and this is still down. I don't even know what it looks like underneath there. So I'm going to stop this again, clean this up, clean my hands up, and see what I can salvage. So I will be back again. I just wanted you guys to see how bad this is right now. Hopefully we can make it better. So here we are, back again. I've cleaned up as best I could. I took the mask off the bottom, which actually, it did its job. Gel crayons are so messy. And I guess because I didn't put that many layers down on the other page, I didn't notice that. Or I should have, I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking with this. What have I learned so far? Yes. This did not work. So this is no longer a tutorial. This is what to do when things go wildly, badly awry. I also learned that I washed this. This black is not coming off the corners. So I don't really know what I'm going to do with that. Although, it doesn't seem to leave black marks. Well, maybe it does. Yeah, I might have to cut this down maybe. You know what I mean? Like take an X-Acto knife and to get clean corners again? I'm not sure. But that's also something I learned. The eraser also took off quite a lot of the color. So you can almost see like brighter bits of color you know, where I haven't had to erase. So I'm going to try, this could go very badly, to bring a little bit of that color back in between the trees, because yeah, we've lost a lot of that color. So, and I've taken that mask off and actually thrown it away because it was so, and I know I'm going over top of the it's kind of like, why did I mask this stuff off in the first place? I don't know. This did not work. But I just want to try and bring a little bit of that color back. I guess I'm going to have to go over the snowflake probably with maybe, it's going to have to be like a white acrylic to just basically cover up. You know what I could do is I could try and go in with an eraser, like an electric eraser, and take some of the color off of the snowflake part. But I'm not sure. I don't know if I'm making this worse or not. Hoping you guys are having a good laugh anyway. That's really all you can do at this point. So I just kind of got a combination of the, I think it was the red gold, or red, pardon me, metallic red orange from the King Art, and the coral gelato. The metallic melon, which was that really super bright one, I don't know, I don't think it, oh shoot, I don't think it really worked. Ooh, that got really bright in that one spot. Oh well. I also think for the snow, I'm going to be using probably that shimmery goodness from TCW. Just because I'm tired of messing with gel crayons after this. So, and I'm gonna probably need something that's like super thick and opaque to make snow at the bottom here. We'll see. I know I'm kind of going over the black trees. I don't know what else to do. I mean, they're kind of, like I say, it's almost gonna end up like a, I don't know, like an abstract. And probably at this point, I'm looking at this, and at this point I'm thinking, I just should have done this with watercolor. It would have been faster and easier. Live and learn though, right? Live and learn. What else can we do? Well, I'm bringing some orange back in there, I think. This poor paper has had so much done to it. I mean, okay, okay. So let's see if we can bring some of the yellow back. So I'm going to take, the bright yellow first. Sorry, I know this is off screen, but the two yellows I had were the Flickering Candle and Harvest Moon. And the Harvest Moon is a lighter yellow, so that's the one that I've got on here now. And I'm going to just kind of... And you know what? I'm going to probably get green at the edges there, and at this point, I'm not even sure I care anymore. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, tell you what, we'll do a different tutorial on how to actually do this background. Not like this. Not. This did not work. And then now I'm going to take some of the, I know it's just off camera there, but just move over just a bit. There we go. So this is the Harvest Moon. So this is the more golden color. And I'm going to go over top some of that peachy color that I put down at the bottom too. Just, I find that if you add in kind of the golden color, it makes that peachy color kind of glow a bit more. Yeah, at this point there was really no point to me masking off that snowflake in any way, shape, or form. There's zero point in me doing that. Oh well. Just trying to bring some color back to the background. And then I think I'm going to go back in with the blue. And we'll start with the lightest blue that we had, which was that was that Tim Holtz Winter Frost. It was coming off the crayon in chunks, so now I've got some chunks in my brush here. Just trying to get them off so that, because otherwise they'll make smears. There. Yeah, we're getting a green color up there, but like I say, at this point, I just don't even care anymore. Going right over top the black of the trees, which actually seems to be staying. I mean, I think, yes, you still get sort of the idea that there's trees back there. That's not bad. Oh, you know what I totally forgot to put behind though? Oops. Oh my goodness, Connie. I'd forgotten that I took out that backing page. Can you see what I did to the edges of these now? Yeah, a little gel crayon at the edge there. Oh well. I took out the backing page because it was a mess. It was full of rubber bits from the eraser thing, and now I'm going to pick up some of this darker blue. This was the Satellite Gelato, this one. This is getting patchy. Like I say, I'm not sure I care anymore. We'll blend it out. It'll be what it will be. What if I take some of the black? So maybe a little bit of the Crayola, a little bit of that black hole, and just because I actually wanted the top of this darker, I remember. Black of the trees can kind of disappear off into the top. That'll be okay. I know, that's very dark. I know. It's hard to... This poor paper is probably like giving up the ghost. I mean, it's not a water medium. Well, I mean, it is. It's not totally dry. It's a gel, right? But this is only Creative Haven paper. All right. So the darker blue now, to try and not have there be such a stark line with the black that I put on there. All else fails, we will spatter this all over with white. It'll be like a snowstorm. Yeah, the paper is, oh, it's rejecting the gel crayon now. That's not good. Okay, I'm gonna do one last go with this lighter blue. I think I'm pushing harder too, because you know what, I am stressed because I'm thinking this is not working. Well, the lighter bits can be clouds. This almost looks Halloweenish now, doesn't it? That's not what I meant. Oh well. We'll get the snow in there, and that'll look maybe winterish. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go off camera and sorry, it's all over my fingers. Yeah. I don't like messy art supplies, which is kind of one of the reasons why I did, like using gel crayons. I guess I just have never tried to put down this much gel crayon before. Didn't realize how messy it would get. I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to take my, wherever I went here, electric eraser and just try and lighten up some of the snowflake stuff. Just because it's got a lot of gel crayon on it right now too, and I'm thinking if I try and put anything on top of that, it's very slippery. I don't know if it'll stick. So I'm going to go off camera and do that, and then we'll come back, and then we'll think about how we want to do the snowflake and also the snow down at the bottom. Okay, I've gotten to this point. So what I've done is I have cleaned all the snowflake area up as best I could with an electric eraser, which wasn't great. And I don't know. Well, we're going to try and save this as best we can. You probably can't even see the snowflake area. I'm just going to zoom in. There, maybe you can see it a bit better. Right? So all of that will be colored with varying, like I say, white gel pen, white acrylic pens. We'll see. But it's going to have to be something opaque enough to go over, because you can see I obviously couldn't erase everything. So it's going to have to be something opaque enough to go over that. But before we do that, I wanted to put the snow on the bottom. And I was going to use the white gel crayon, but I just don't, it's not going to be opaque enough. And I was trying to decide if I wanted to cover, there's a tiny little bit of the snowflake that sort of dips below the ground line that I have there. And I mean, I'm thinking I should have had the ground line below the snowflake, but it is what it is now. And I'm trying to decide if I want to keep, I don't think I will, because it's just going to be too hard. I was going to keep the snowflake on top of the snow, but I think I'm actually going to cover it up with the snow. And what I'm going to use is this. So this is the Crafter's Workshop TCW Shimmery Goodness. Now it says it dries clear, but if you put it on thick enough, I've found that it doesn't. So I'm and it's I mean, it's a thick paste. It looks like peanut butter, right? I am going to put it on thick. This is a one-sided book. Now, when I go to color something on either side, I may have some trouble, but I think it'll be okay. And I'm putting this on with a palette knife. And I'm just going to... I want it to look like snow, remember, right? So I don't really care if it's kind of uneven, and I'm not looking for an even application, because snow wouldn't be, right? It would be drifted and all that kind of stuff. And I think in order to get a softer edge at the top, well, where the snow part kind of meets the kind of wavy line that I had going there, I might actually just go in with my finger and paint it on there. Because with the palette knife, of course, you're gonna get, it's hard to get a kind of an organic, natural edge with a palette knife because it's flat, right? So I'm just, yeah, kind of spreading it on, and it's going to be thick. This page is, it's certainly not a tutorial anymore. it's trying to save, I don't know, maybe I should have quit while I was ahead, but I didn't. I'm stubborn like that. And I thought, well, and considering too, this is only just, this is a mandala page. It's not like, yeah, not, and I'm not putting down, don't get me wrong, excuse me, I'm not putting down mandalas, but, you know, if this was, say, a page in a Hannah Carlson book, or that I had spent ages and ages and ages doing a scene and maybe a portrait and all that kind of stuff, I don't know, maybe I would have made more sense to fight to keep it instead of just abandon it. I don't know. Stubborn. That's me. And I look on stuff like this, or I try to anyway, as a learning experience. Ooh, you can see how shimmery it is. What did I learn? I learned this doesn't really work with gel crayons, right? They're too... I think it would have worked better with ink, because when I went to take the drawing gum off, I wouldn't have had the smearing, right? Because it's ink. It would have been, if I, you know, as long as I let it dry, it would have been permanent then on the paper. Yeah, and I wouldn't have had that issue. All right, I'm going in with my finger now. What else did I learn? I learned that sometimes what you think is, it's a lot harder to, and those of you who are maybe more experienced with coloring or art or what have you than me, you probably already know this. It's very hard to realize, for me anyway, what's in my head. So again, because I don't normally visualize things, I sort of had this idea in my head of what I thought I wanted this to look like. This is not what I wanted it to look like. Well, I mean, it sort of is. I tried to stay with kind of sort of the original vision. So I'm just trying to make this look drifted. But, yeah, I learned a lot of things along the way. And if you want to put, I'm putting this on thick. I've taken a few acrylic painting classes, and one of the ones actually that I liked the best were palette knife painting classes, where instead of putting the acrylic on with a brush, you put it on with, well, a palette knife. And I really liked it. I don't know what the teacher thought I was doing, but I mean, I had that paint on there like icing, man. Kind of like I have it on here now. And I just really, really liked it. I liked the effect it gave. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing here. This is going on like icing. It's going to be thick. But I do need it to cover up some of the bleed from... I did have a little bit of the, particularly the black gel crayon, kind of bleed down onto this white area. And, yeah, I want to cover up the bottom of that snowflake, and we'll sort of color up to it. Hopefully that'll be okay. Make sure I have everything covered. Some areas I think are too thick. I'll maybe take a little bit off here. Probably nowhere in the instructions for this does it say to use your finger, but I can't think of how else to get a drifted look at the top there. Because otherwise, you know, even with a paintbrush, maybe a paintbrush would have worked. Just want to make sure I go right up to, and maybe even a little bit over that sort of the line that I had before. There. That's on there pretty thick. And you know what? The paper's taking it okay. It's buckling a little. I don't know if you can see that. And this is going to take a while to dry because, of course, it is on there like icing. But I'm going to go off and I'm going to let this dry. Clean myself up here. Ooh, look how shimmery. And yeah, let this dry. And then we will come back and, yeah, decide how we want to color this snowflake and see if we can get it to look white after all the color that's, you know, coming through there. And I don't know, see if we can get this finished off. All right, we are back. This is, I think, the finished page. I know I had said previously in the previous section that I was going to come back and after this shimmery goodness had dried, and then we'd do the snowflake. But I originally was thinking I was going to do different shades of white, different textures of white, and then I thought, you know, Connie, maybe enough is enough. This page is not turning out the way you wanted, so let's just go with simple. When all else fails, go simple. That's my motto. So I colored the entire snowflake with this. This is just a Uniball Broad Signo white gel pen. Once that was dry, I did take this, which is the Spectrum Noir Crystal Clear. It's like a Wink of Stella, but it's the Spectrum Noir version. And I went over top of, it's just a brush with, it's like a clear ink, I guess, that has really fine glitter in it. And I went over top of the central snowflake and these 6 snowflakes, but I'm not sure. It's a pretty, yeah, this is, I mean, that's sort of shining so much. I don't know if you can pick up any sparkle in there or not. But that was it. That's, I chose not to do anything else. I did take, off camera, I took a Prismacolor black colored pencil and just kind of darkened up the trees a little bit more. If you remember from when I was trying to get the drawing gum, the masking fluid off, I was using that rubber eraser, and it took a lot of the dark black gel crayon off. It just did. And I could still see the trees in the background, but I just wanted them a little bit darker. And then I took Winsor & Newton white calligraphy ink, this, and used a brush and did the spatter technique just to make it look like snow in the background. So hopefully you can see that. Kind of tilt it around here. The background itself does have some shimmer because the gel crayons that I was using, they're all of them were some kind of iridescent, whether they be the Tim Holtz or the Gelatos, or even the King Art was one of the metallics. So yeah, the background itself has a bit of, here you can see it, there's a bit of shimmer to it. This is quite shiny, that's that shimmery goodness. And I put this on, it's thick, right? It's like icing. Also, before it was dry, I just made sure that sort of the lines, the swoops in the icing were all kind of going, horizontally, just because, you would never have, not that this is a whole, it's not really 3D. There's not a whole lot of perspective here, but you would never have snow ridges or lines in the snow that were vertical, right? They would always be horizontal when you're looking at them from a distance, because that's just the way the wind sculpts snow. Now I'm looking on screen, and it looks a little bit like I did what I wanted to do but couldn't, just because of when I put this shimmery goodness on, it's wet, right? It's like a paste, and it warped the bottom of the page a little bit. And I'm looking on screen, because it's in front of me, and the shadows from the warping, I wanted to have shadows of the trees on the snow, right? Because if the sun is setting behind these trees, it's going to throw shadows onto the snow. But you can't really color on top of the shimmery goodness. I mean, you could, it's kind of plasticky. I thought about trying, but there again, I thought, oh, Connie, this is just going to get worse. So maybe you just leave it for this time and we'll do it. But actually the shadows, just because the paper is warped, do actually look like it's kind of falling. And that's kind of what I wanted. So it's an unintentional effect. I didn't realize it would look like that, but yeah, because I wanted the shadows, and they would come out probably at a little bit of an angle if the sun was, I don't know. But yeah, so this is my sunset page. Sorry, the lighting might be washing it out a bit there. I tried doing it without lighting, because it is daytime right now, but it's an overcast day and I'm just not getting enough natural sunlight. So we've got the peach at the bottom, it goes up into the yellow, and then the blue, and then close to black at the top. I think I'm definitely going to do this background again. I would like to try it with ink instead of gel crayon, particularly if I'm going to use masking fluid again, because the gel crayon smears, right, when you're taking the masking fluid off. I guess I didn't notice that in the other pictures I did, probably because maybe I didn't put the gel crayon on as thickly. I put a fair number of layers on here. And also, the other pages where I did this, I didn't have a really intricate image like this. Well, I did, but there wasn't a lot of in-between space, right? There's a lot of in-between space in this one. But the other one, I just sort of had to worry about getting the gel crayon or the masking fluid off the edge of the image. So even if there was a little bit of, and what I did was when I was taking the masking fluid off, I pushed it, sort of towards the gel crayon, so I wasn't smearing the gel crayon into the image as I was removing the masking fluid. But I couldn't avoid that here, right? Because there's little lines everywhere. So yeah, I'm definitely going to try this background again. I'm wondering if I can get, either inks like Distress inks or Distress Oxide. That might, I don't have, we'll see. We will see. But yeah, I just thought I would show you. Does this look wintry? Does it look Halloween? Does it look fall? I don't know. Like I say, it was a learning experience for me. I think I rescued it. It sort of matches in my, mind's eye what I was visualizing before I started, which is good that, like I said at the beginning, this is one of the first times I've experienced that. I've actually had an idea in my head where I think, okay, this is what I think I want to do with this page. Usually I just start and it just sort of goes from there, but yeah. So, I don't know how much of a tutorial this was, or if it was a tutorial, if it was more of a tutorial on what to do when things go wildly awry, or if maybe it was a bit of a tutorial on how to do that sunset, but I'll try and do some more pages with that sunset kind of background, just because I like it so much. And you know what? The more I do it, I'm hoping the better at it I get. So yeah, there's that. All right. Well, that's it for this picture. So thanks so much for coming with me on this learning journey that we've had here. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is safe. I hope everyone is enjoying their coloring. If you're liking what you're seeing on my channel, please consider hitting the like button, subscribing, hitting that notification bell so you get notified of new videos, leaving a comment, letting a friend know that you found a channel and they might like it too. All right, until next time, folks, take care. Bye-bye.